Thank you for joining me for Ecclesiastes 10 verse 20. And that's the only verse that we are going to look into in today's message, is Ecclesiastes 10 verse 20. And it says this: never make light of the king. So let's underline, highlight, or even circle, or even all three. King. And then also do the same thing for make light. Because you're going to find out that in this message, these two things are very important, especially here in America. And, you're going to find out why these two things are very important in today's message. But continuing on, even in your thoughts. So, never make light of the king, even in your thoughts. So you can also circle even, highlight even, underline, because that one's very important as well. Even in your thoughts. And you don't make fun of the powerful, even in your own bedroom. For a little bird, now underline, circle, or highlight a little bird, might deliver your message and tell them what you said. So let's look at this, let's look at, for a little bird might deliver your message. Because picture when Jesus said, see, this reminds me of when Jesus said, it is said, do not lust, or do not, commit adultery or whatever. And then he goes on to say, but I say, don't even think. If you have thought it, you've already created a sin. Now let's read the last part of this passage one more time. On just reading this passage over. Never make light of the king, even in your thoughts. So, you can see where Solomon is saying, look, you don't want to make light of the king. Even if you're thinking thoughts, don't do it. There can be, and this is true in the spiritual world. This is kind of how the spiritual world works. See, even demons, even the spiritual beings know your thoughts. And a good example of this is like God. God knows your thoughts. And really that's kind of what I'm speaking to. But don't think that God is the only being that can, obviously knows, like obviously God would be the number one ultimate being that can, see your thoughts, that he knows your thoughts. So right there, you what I'm trying to get you to do is to see the similarity. I mean, this is, what King Solomon is speaking to is the spiritual realm. How spiritual beings can see your thoughts. How God himself can see your thoughts. Therefore, you shouldn't really make light of the king even in your thoughts. Or you also shouldn't make fun of the powerful, even if it's just in your thoughts, because there could be a spiritual being that can take your thoughts and, spread. A good example would be could be a monitoring spirit. See, monitoring spirits, they will monitor what you do. So a monitoring spirit will be lurking. Even a monitoring spirit could be lurking over your shoulder, seeing what it is that you're writing. So you might have a journal. You might be somebody that journals. Well, a monitoring spirit often can maybe see what you are journaling. And oftentimes a friend or a family member with a monitoring spirit is going to invade your privacy. And they're going to open up, like if part of your privacy is laying out open just for everybody to see, somebody with a monitoring spirit is going to look at what's supposed to be private. So that's one way. That's one way that this little bird might deliver your message. Another way is, think about this, is marine spirits. Now, marine spirits are, kind of the same thing as like mind control spirits. They kind of control, not literally, I wouldn't say literally control a person's mind, but they can kind of control a little bit of what a person thinks or how a person thinks. So a marine spirit, or a spirit that kind of lives up in a person's mind, they because they're living in your mind, that spirit can think about this, can hear every single thought that you think. So you might be thinking, oh, I hate this person, the rich. You might not verbally say it, but you think it. And because there is a marine spirit, or rather mind control spirit, you're eventually, what's going to happen is eventually the mind control spirit is going to get you to slip. See, you might be thinking, oh, I hate this person, but never say it. But guess what? If there's a mind control spirit, that mind control spirit is just going to wait for the right time for you to accidentally gossip. See, you might be a person that normally stays away from gossip and just thinks it in your mind. But see, the problem is even, and this is what I'm getting at, is even when you are thinking it, it's just a matter of time before it slips out of your mouth. Then, when it slips out of your mouth, it becomes gossip. And then all of a sudden, this little bird that has very good ears, that has a monitoring spirit, hears what you accidentally slipped out of your mouth of what you thought about this person or that person. Like, you could be somebody that doesn't gossip at all. You could be somebody that thinks things but never says them. But then when you accidentally speak it, there can be a little bird, there can be somebody with a monitoring spirit. Oh, what did they say about them? And so they would become that little bird that can then take it to somebody. So that's what the monitoring spirit does, and what the mind control spirit does is it gets you to eventually, accidentally, it could even be by accident, the mind control spirit or the marine spirit will get you to verbally say it, accident, like so there's people that times say what's on their mind, right? And that's kind of what I'm speaking about here, is if you're somebody that never says what's on your mind, but you have a marine spirit or mind control spirit, that spirit is eventually going to get you to say what's on your mind. Eventually. I mean, it's just a matter of time. So it's safer to not even think about those things. Yes, do those things cross your mind from time to time? Yes, sometimes they do. But move on from those. Don't let those thoughts, don't let those thoughts, take over your mind. You want those thoughts going in and out. See, the enemy is always trying to plant those thoughts. You have to, whoosh. Okay, another thought, whoosh. Another thought, whoosh. You got to get those thoughts. A thought comes, you got to be the window shield wiper, you got to wipe that thought right out of your mind. Or else eventually the marine spirit, if there is a marine spirit there, is going to get you to tell somebody. And then if there's somebody with very good ears who has a monitoring spirit that hears that, or if the person that you're talking to has a monitoring spirit, they're going to gossip eventually, So that's the first thing that I wanted to talk about in this passage was you got to be careful about even your thoughts. The second thing, and this is the closing, is go back to the beginning. Never make light of the king. See, okay. Never make light of the king. What is a king? A king is a ruler over a country or a nation or whatever. Don't make light of the king. Meaning you also don't want to be on the king's bad side. You want to respect the king. Well, here in America, there is a lot of people that have lost respect for those that would be. Now, we don't have kings here in America. We have presidents. But see, what I'm getting at is that here in America, we have completely lost none of us think to respect somebody in authority. Did you catch that? Here in America, we kind of lost the respect for those that would be higher up in authority. And I'm going somewhere with this. Therefore, we've also kind of lost the respect for the King of Kings. See, when you look at Jesus as your Lord and Savior, He's your Lord and Savior, and you pray to Him and whatnot. But then when you see Jesus as your King, you take a different perspective. Now all of a sudden, you respect Jesus. Now all of a sudden, you start to learn how to respect His decisions, respect His laws, respect the order that He has. See, a king or any leader, they have laws. Not only do they have laws, but they have an order of how they, they have an order of how they want things to be. So if the king has an order for humanity, like if the king has an order of way of how he wants the household to go, and you do the opposite, you're not respecting the king's order. You're not respecting that. Here in America, we are starting to lose respect for the King of Kings order of how he would want a marriage to look like, and who he has placed as the head of the household. See, we take that too lightly, because we do not view, even though there's many that view Jesus as their Lord and Savior, there's still many that don't view him as a king. Oh, he might be Lord, but, well, he's definitely not king. See, when you look at Jesus as king, it gives you a new perspective. But then there's those that disrespect the king because they just don't like the king. See, we've also gotten to a place here in America where we don't even want to worship God. We don't even want him to exist. Because if God exists, then we need to live by his law. If God exists, then we have to live by his law. We have to live by the order that he has things. And we don't want that. And we might be somebody that is cool with law and order. We might be somebody cool with the police. Oh, it's easy for us to be okay with police, but we don't want an ultimate being telling us what to do, because, well, we live in a place called America of freedom of living, freedom of speech, freedom of this, freedom of that, freedom, freedom, freedom. But guess what? The reason why it does not give you the right is because there is a King of Kings. You need to start recognizing his name, knowing his name. You need to start knowing his name. But we don't want to recognize the King of Kings because we just want to do what we want to do. And yes, God gives each and every one of us free will, but that doesn't make it right. Because there's a King of Kings. But see, when you put this idea that we just came into being after a big bang, and you take God out of the picture, then we can just do what we want. And we might be okay with the laws that humans created, but we're never going to be okay with the laws that God has made. Because God's out of the picture, we want to believe in this ideal of evolution, because with evolution there is no God. With evolution, we might respect the laws that humans create, but we don't have to, respect any law that God has made. See, that's why Satan is using evolution. See, Satan is using evolution so we can take God out of the picture and can make it okay for us to respect the laws for human. Well, even some of us still don't respect the laws that humans created. I mean, even some of us would rather have no laws. But far and large, there's those that can respect the laws that humans created, but not respect God's law, because they've taken him out of the picture and they believe in this Big Bang where there's no God. But it's a simple fact that there is a God. And we need to start knowing him by name and recognizing him as King.